My name's Sarah, and I will be talking with you today. What's your name?
My name's Garrett.
Nice to meet you, Garrett. What brings you in today?
Well, I'm having problems with my current job and my mental health, and both of the two. And I just feel like I'm stuck where I'm at, and I can't make any progress.
Okay, so tell me, what do you do for work?
I work at McAllister's. I work in the kitchen. I slice meat. I do the dishes. I do food prep, as in like slicing vegetables, making lemonade, making lettuce crispers for salads. I work up front sometimes. I run food and bus tables.
Okay, so it kind of sounds like you do a lot of different, like, variety in your job.
Right, which I like, but sometimes it feels like I'm pulling a lot of the weight sometimes, and it's frustrating for me because it feels like no one else is picking up slack, and it feels like I'm the only one doing things. Which I know, there's other people that help out. I feel like it's mostly me.
Okay, so tell me more about your interactions with your coworkers.
I try to be nice and just. I try to be nice and upfront about things, and I don't try to create drama. I like to stay away from drama, and I feel like my relationship with everyone there is pretty good. I try to be nice and not really stir the pot. I try to be nice as far as like interacting with people. I don't try to be very confrontational about things. I just kind of, when someone says something, I just kind of put my head down and don't really do much about it. And then it feels like that maybe makes things worse because, I'm not really getting out what's frustrating me.
So it sounds like maybe you have trouble discussing what's bothering you directly, like in that moment with a coworker or a manager per se.
Yeah.
In certain scenarios like that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to be a little bit better about not being confrontational, but when someone says something, asking them, what was that? And then they don't just have anything to say after that. So, it's not, I don't know if they're not saying what was on their mind either. It's just, it seems like everything gets swept under the rug.
Right. So is there anything like positive that you look forward to at your job or that makes it, kind of...
Yeah, I do like my coworkers. I mean, that's probably the best thing about the job for me is the people that I work with, even though it's also the worst thing about the job. Which is, that's confusing in itself because, I enjoy going there and being with these people every day, and, we sometimes we see more of each other than we do our families, so it's nice to come in and, I like them on that level too. They also really stress me out too. Because I feel like a lot of them are slacking off, and then they ask me to do things and want me to pick up slack. And that in itself is frustrating for me. And I don't know if I'm being dramatic in thinking I'm doing all the work, and everyone's working equally as hard. Maybe it's just, why do I feel like I'm the one that's pulling all the weight?
Right.
That's one of my main, I feel like, my main concerns, I guess you'd say.
So what I'm gathering really is that, you do enjoy your job, you enjoy what you do, but there are times and scenarios that maybe you don't feel like you're heard, or you get frustrated easily with others.
Yeah.
What's a situation that you can think of that would frustrate you that happens frequently when you're at work?
There's a kitchen manager who likes to basically just stand around and not really do anything, but they want to like ask me to do something that they're perfectly capable of doing, and they're just standing there and they're not doing anything. And the thing could be right next to them, like, hey, can you put that bag of chips on the top shelf? And they're standing right next to the bag of chips. And it's not a complicated task. And I'm all the way back on the prep aisle. And it's something you have to go out of your way to come ask me to do something that you could have just done by yourself, like that easy. You're standing right next to the bag of chips. Why'd you have to walk all the way back to me and ask me to do it? You know, that's one of the things that really it makes me angry. Like, why are you going out of your way to make me do something when it would have just been easier for you to do it in the first place? Especially since you're not doing anything. You're just standing there.
Right. So it kind of sounds like, you know, that manager that does that might bring some added stress to your day, you know, on top of just working in a kitchen, you know, because that work can just be busy.
Yeah, it's stressful sometimes, but the manager is definitely a large cause of my stress.
Okay. So, do you think that your mental health issues that you've said you've been having feed into that in any, like, your job? Does your job feed into some of the issues you've been experiencing?
I think it does. It's hard for me to tell if it's my mental health issues that's feeding my struggle at work, or if it's my struggle at work that's feeding my mental health issues, or if it's both. So
tell me more about your mental health issues. What?
I get very depressed and down for weeks on end, and then I go through this point where that kind of changes and I experience this really uplifted, I feel great, like for a couple weeks or a couple days, and then I'll fall off, and you know, I'll get angry, I'll get agitated, I'll get just depressed about nothing, and it doesn't seem like there's a trigger for it. It doesn't seem like anything's causing it. It just seems random. And, you know, when I'm in these moods where I feel great, there's the things that normally would bother me when I'm depressed, that I just brush them off my shoulder. Like, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't affect me. But then the same thing could happen in a couple weeks when I'm feeling depressed, and it's like, feels like the end of the world to me. Like, it's something that, you know, I constantly think about that one thing that just happened, and I dwell on it, and it seems like it causes me to be more agitated about other stuff, and it's just confusing for me.
Yeah. So is there anything that makes your moods better when you're in that state, or is there anything that helps you that you've found?
I think I really enjoy music. That's one of the things that I find that can help me kind of just take my mind off of things for a while, and go to kind of go to a different world, I guess you'd say, or a different space where I'm not really thinking about anything else. Okay. I also feel like I smoke weed to cope with the depression and the constant, like, it feels like anger It kind of calms me down. It doesn't make me as angry. I can deal with things better that way. It seems like I don't get as frustrated, and it affects my mood to where I'm not so agitated about things that would normally agitate me. Kind of how I would feel in my when I'm happy and when I'm feeling good about myself in my life.
Right. So you kind of do have a couple coping mechanisms. So like maybe after you've had a stressful day, you'll come home and listen to some music, maybe smoke some marijuana, and that kind of helps you de-stress and kind of get out of maybe the funk that you're in for the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, is there anything that makes you so upset that maybe your music or marijuana would not help at work?
I like to think that all I need when I come home from work is to smoke a little bit, and I feel like that generally calms me down, and I don't feel like I have a problem after that. But there's not much I can think of off the top of my head that would make me unconsolable.
Okay. So you can have a stressful day and you come home and you're able to relax and kind of alter your mood. Do you have any techniques to calm yourself down when you get upset at work?
I try to focus on my breathing. One of my coworkers definitely helps me with that. I'll ask him. I said, I'll walk up to him and be like, "Do that breathing thing with me, or I'm gonna freak out." And he'll be like, "All right, in through your mouth for 8 seconds, hold it for 4, out through your nose." And sometimes, that helps. Just I don't know if it's the breathing or if it's just talking to them and kind of vocalizing my stressed outness.
Okay. So it sounds like, even though work is stressful, you have coping mechanisms while you're there to kind of deal with some of the things that would make you upset at work. So you have like a good support system with your coworkers, as you said earlier. And that kind of helps you get through your day.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that you...
I have something to add to that.
Okay.
The manager actually that stresses me out a lot. He's also very, very good at calming me down too, because he's pretty good at noticing when I am stressed out, and he'll take me back and ask me, is there anything I can do to help, or is there he'll kind of ask me, is there anything that you're stressed out about right now, at work or at home? And he'll kind of, he's pretty good at being able to get me back on a little bit more level ground as far as my frustration then and there. But then he goes and does something again that makes me mad. And I don't know, maybe I'm not very good at vocalizing to him that these things make me angry. But in the same aspect, I feel like I've done that before, and he just comes up with excuses like, "Oh, well, we're busy," but she's not. So he's not busy. He's just standing around talking to people in the kitchen, and not even about anything relative to work. Just creating conversation, which I understand can be good for the work environment, but not all the time, and not when we're busy and have stuff to do. And he's standing there while his employees are busting hump, and he's watching them do that, and he's trying to have a conversation with them at the same time, and he's not helping. He's just standing there, and that's frustrating for me. um, because it feels like he tries to be there, or he says he wants to be there to help, and then he does the complete opposite in his actions.
Right. So it sounds like that would take some perseverance to kind of get through that moment with that manager, or even with a coworker. If they were to act like that, you would really have to push through and try to keep yourself calm. Maybe focus on your breathing, like you said,
Yeah.
or take time to go talk with a coworker that might be able to calm you down when someone acts like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything that you think you could do differently to maybe resolve anything that goes on when you're at work? Or
Yeah, I feel like if I acted less stressed out, and I didn't let people see, how agitated I can get, I feel like maybe that energy would maybe help create a less stressful environment all the way around. Um, because I feel like people react poorly to agitation in general. So maybe just having a more positive attitude, and not letting stuff get to me on a personal level. Um, that might help, I think.
okay, so maybe you think that you might need to work on your own personal coping mechanisms,
Yeah, for sure.
And kind of see if by improving your own coping mechanisms and communication strategies, if that alone would make your work environment smoother and easier for you to be in every day.
Yeah.
um,
And it also feels like sometimes I get this feeling in my chest. It's kind of like anxiety, only it's rage, and I feel like I want to physically lash out. Um, there's been occasions where I would go back in the stock room and just punch a box really hard to just get some frustration out, which it helps a little bit in the moment, but it feels like in a few minutes that feeling's back, and I feel like I want to. It feels like my chest is going to explode. Very heavy chested, very agitated. I feel like my arms feel like I gotta be moving my arms, like shaking them around, jumping up and down to get, like, I feel like there's like pent up rage or energy that I can't get out. Um, and sometimes there's no reason for it. Sometimes it just happens. Like, I'll just be back by myself doing my job, because I usually work by myself back there on the prep aisle, and nothing happens, and all of a sudden I just feel very agitated, and I get that feeling where I have to, like, something's wrong, and start pacing back and forth because I got this energy, and I feel like I'm gonna explode. So I gotta jump up and down. I don't know what's wrong with my chest.
so it kind of sounds like you have maybe some more, I guess, unhealthy coping mechanisms versus the breathing strategy that you were telling me about, and like talking with your coworker and kind of getting things out. Do you notice that when you talk it out or work on your breathing, that you find your mood is better um, afterwards, rather than when you go, and maybe into the stock room and rage, or when you come home after work and smoke? Like, do you notice that talking and kind of focusing on your breathing in that moment helps more, or do you think?
I think they're pretty. I think they're pretty equal. If I focus on my breathing, um, my feeling might go away for a couple seconds or a couple minutes, but I feel like it comes back again. And it could be like that with smoking weed too, but then I smoke more weed. So maybe it's just something that something that seems healthy, but isn't quite, what would be beneficial for me.
Right. So do you think that maybe trying to alter your coping mechanisms, like smoking marijuana or kind of going into like a fit of rage, do you want to change those coping mechanisms, or are you content with those coping mechanisms?
No, not 100%. I wish I had more ways to handle my stress at work besides, going and talking to someone about it. It seems like those never really, they never really solve the problem I'm having, which is why I feel like I need to change my attitude a little bit.
So what I'm kind of gathering is that you want to do better at work and kind of control your emotions maybe more, and even your mental health, outside of work and at home. And it sounds like you do have some good coping mechanisms, like already on board that you incorporate,
Yeah.
but you're just kind of wanting to add maybe more of those into your daily routine.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that. I mean, I guess if I have to breathe like that every 5 minutes, then I guess that's what I have to do. It just doesn't seem practical to me to do that all the time. And I don't know. Maybe that's just where I need my attitude change.
So it might be beneficial to kind of learn, more coping mechanisms, so if you don't want to focus on your breathing every 5 minutes, you might be able to try something different, like maybe counting to 10, or, just kind of walking away for a second, or gathering yourself and kind of, collecting your thoughts. So it sounds like maybe you just might need to implement different coping mechanisms into your work environment. So what I've gathered, from today's session and through talking with you is that, your job kind of will throw you to stressful situations during the day, and it's causing maybe some mental health issues or extra frustration at work, that you kind of want to deal with and find different coping mechanisms, maybe that are different than smoking weed after work, or getting upset and dealing with like physical emotion. So you kind of want to change those and figure out what you could do better. And I think you're on the right track to figuring that out. I think it'll just take some trial and error and time to kind of get this all to where you want it to be.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Well, thank you for listening and, kind of giving me some good pointers. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and like I said, services are always available. So, if you feel like you need to come back and, discuss more, we can kind of touch more on those coping mechanisms you might need, or just talk about, your daily life stressors or work stressors or anything like that. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.